speech is probably the most important thing you can have as an actor, because it's the only thing you can really use to express your character. And I just decided to be an individual, do what I needed to do, and enrolled in the class regardless. And it was probably the best decision I have made. I would like to say thank you for doing this for people. It's very beneficial for a lot of us who don't or haven't learned how to speak correctly. So the fact that I could find this and speak with you, have class with you, pretty much started something new in my life and something good, and kind of paved the way for communication and speech. So thank you.
What is the problem? I mean, you're speaking right now, fine.
Yeah, I know, but like it always changes. Like some days it's not as bad, some days it's terrible, and it changes with like who I'm talking to. So if I'm talking to like my parents, it's a lot worse. If I talk to, let's say, teachers, surprisingly with you it's fine, so that's different. But with it always varies, and usually when I know what I'm gonna say, it's worse. And I'm studying acting, so if like I want to be an actor, then I need to, I know exactly what like I'll say at all times, so I need to make sure that my speech is always, great. I mean, I don't really know like how to answer that, except for like when I know what I'm gonna say, or like if I'm talking to certain people, I can't begin the sentence, or I can't like get the words out, or pretty much like my thought process just is all up in flames.
Let's go. Поехали.
Хорошо, ну как обычно, вопросы.
As usually, what question do you have for us?
Not many questions actually, just excited to get started actually. I don't really have questions.
Хорошо.
Okay, very well. Let me explain to you one simple thing. In order to become a normal person, you would need to clear your mind from all the information linked to stuttering. This is all methods, techniques, strategies, tips, tricks, everything that you were learning up until today.
If we ask any normal person, what kind of method do you use when you speak? He will answer, I don't know, I don't have any method that I follow when I speak. If we ask this person, what kind of method did you use? What kind of technique did you use? How did you train yourself to speak so well? He will again answer you, no, I didn't use any technique. I didn't use any method. I just speak. If we ask him again, what do you do with your tongue? What do you do with your lips? And he will again answer, I don't know, it just happens itself. It's happening on its own. I do not do anything special for that.
Because the natural movements of our body are as simple but incomprehensible as, for example, the movement of our finger.
We can never even understand how it happens because it is natural. It happens on its own.
This is why all these stutterers' questions about how they're supposed to speak do not make any sense. They endlessly keep asking their speech therapists, psychologists, doctors, and other people for such advice.
Okay.
It's the same as if we were asking others, how do you use your finger? How do you bend it? What kind of methods do you use? What kind of techniques do you use to bend your finger so nicely? How do you do this?
You should calm down your mind and stop asking these idiotic questions. The moment we stop asking all these kind of questions, we turn ourselves into healthy, psychologically, mentally healthy people.
I want to be an actor because ever since I was young, TV shows and movies and characters and stories has always touched me at heart, especially when I was 17. I started watching more movies that had more meaning and had more depth, and the characters and the storyline inspired me to change, inspired me to change my ways, inspired me to be better, inspired me to just simply improve in essentially all aspects of my life. I would say stories have shaped my life since I've realized their depth and their meaning to me. So since those characters and those actors have inspired me to change and improve myself and live how I want to live in the most positive way, I want to be an actor because I want to do the same thing for others who are maybe lost or not feeling all up about life, and maybe just inspire or move them with a story, because stories are powerful and essentially shape our minds.
I'm bored. No mistakes, nothing to yell about.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny because sometimes my students call me, "You're like a surgeon." I've been told that. Nothing to complain about. That's too perfect.
I like it. I went to a little gathering and I spoke a lot. I spoke with strangers and people who I don't normally would interact with, like coworkers at work who are older than me, the boss at work. I also called a few people, and everything was fine and everything went well. If it didn't go well and if I started running, I would realize it and tell myself what I was doing and fix it. So everything is perfect.
So it's under control.
Exactly.
Under your control, not someone else's, right?
Exactly. I realized I did not speak normally fully a few years back. I remember speaking with my mother when I was younger and speaking about it, her being sure that it would just gradually go away with time. And after a while, it didn't. And I wanted to speak to the best of my abilities and to the best of my skill. I tried looking for things I could do at home that I could improve on, things I could do like singing, even reading out loud, also speaking more often, or things like that. And it just never got better because I just didn't know or really understand why. So,
of course, the moment you start looking for the ways to improve, for advice from others, guess what you started doing? You started looking for how to others do it, instead of continuing simply developing your personal God-given style of speaking. You started copying someone else, modeling after someone.
I remember in the 8th grade, that was the year I spoke the less in my life. I remember not speaking as much as all the other years because I didn't want to go through the experience of having mistakes and having the embarrassment or having the issues with stuttering. So I remember speaking a lot less that year. And after that year, I decided I wanted to get rid of that and never do that again. So I looked for things online and started doing more research. And then after that, came upon your website, I think last year, and looked into it, started saving up my money because I work 2 jobs, and then here we are.
So how difficult was it to find Etalon program?
Yeah, that was actually very difficult. It took me a while to stumble upon your website. So, I mean, thank God I did, but it did take a while. I saw a lot of different things beforehand, like videos on YouTube and just articles telling you what to do, articles that said like 5 steps to become a better speaker or stop stuttering, stop making mistakes. But finding your program was difficult. Yeah, it did not just appear on the screen. I had to search and stuff. I asked my family, my mother. I spoke to her the most, and she was very skeptical about the class just because she's never heard of it and all these other factors. So she advised against taking this class, and I just decided to be an individual, do what I needed to do, and enrolled in the class regardless. And it was probably the best decision I have made. So,
of course. Only we make the best decisions for ourselves. That's the truth you just said, yes.
Class began with the first one. After the first class, we met with Roman, had a long day in class, and I pretty much received the entire gist of things and what I had to do as a speaker and learn how to speak normally. So after my first class, already I was speaking normally, and while doing the homework, I realized how different my speech was, how different my behavior was while I was speaking, how different things just felt. And then speech class number 2, the same thing happened. We talked over a bit, but I didn't really need to because I kind of already knew. And now we're at speech class 3, going over what I did to get here.
Okay, very good.
The class wasn't difficult at all. It's just the idea that you realize what you need to do, what you've been doing wrong to speak. So in the grand scheme of things, nothing was difficult at all. You just had to get it in your brain and really realize what you were doing wrong. So the aspect of it that was difficult was replacing your old habits and your old thoughts about what you did to speak and realizing what you had to do to speak normally. The easy part was simply just letting it happen, and the difficult part was coming in between yourself and your speech. I believe that during this one life you get, it's always best to improve on all aspects of your life that you want to improve on. And I didn't want to go my entire life knowing I could have maybe mastered my speech or known how to speak normally and pass up that opportunity just because of some dumb reason. I just wanted to do the best I could in every aspect that I wanted to improve on, physically, mentally, spiritually, and with my speech, because as an actor, speech for me is very important. And the fact that I could realize how to speak normally and properly was very important for not just my career, but just for as a person.
So lots of success to you, and success with your audition.
Thank you very much, and I hope you get a lot more students to help and change their speech.
Yeah, change their life.
Exactly, change their lives.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Go speak.